Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. You've hit the spot. The place where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Put your thinking caps on, because the conversation starts now. Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. This is your favorite spot, your favorite podcast, the place where the conversations are pointed and the guests are sharp and the responses are never dull. And today we have Suzanne J Lawson. We are going to talk about something that has been on the lips of many women. Yes, uterus health, gynecological problems, pain, agony, discomfort. She's a yoga teacher, but she's had a lot of experience with this and really giving women options and choices. Now, if you are under a doctor's care, we want you to continue with the same medical treatment that you're receiving, but this is additional information to add to your arsenal, something that you might want to explore, try, or share with a friend. Now, Suzanne is, she's supporting hormone health. That's a lot, okay? Because as women, we go through a change of hormone health physically at least 3 to 4 times in our life. When we're first born, when we go into our puberty, when we go into motherhood, and then when we go to the change of life, okay? And it can be very uncomfortable and unnerving. We're going to talk a little bit about additional weight, exercise, mindset. All of these things contribute to our hormone health. So let's welcome her to the show. How are you, Suzanne?
I'm very good. Thank you, April. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm so happy to have you. Tell my brains a little bit about you and how you got involved in this area of work.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Suzanne and I live in the northeast of the UK. And I kind of really got into this because of my own personal experiences, medically not really being helped much. Started off life quite young with pains. I was just told it was growing pains, I would grow out of it. And then in my teenage years, really terrible, excruciating, painful period pains. And I kind of just didn't think, I thought I was a bit of a wimp. I didn't really think that, I thought that everyone else was going through the same pain and I just wasn't, coping. And then my 20s, 30s, really struggled with infertility. And by the time I was in sort of my mid 30s, I was kind of basically told that there's nothing that the medical profession can do. I was diagnosed with endometriosis and just take painkillers, and that was it. I was left. So I started on this quest of holistic health. I started off looking into reflexology. A friend recommended that. I loved it. It was amazing. I became a reflexologist. I then kind of moved around with other things and got really into Reiki. That was another different side to my mental health. And I became a Reiki master. And throughout that time, I then sort of dabbled into yoga and then became really into yoga every day, going to a lot of classes. And then I studied and became a yoga teacher. So that's kind
Well,
of my journey.
you dial back. You touched on so many things. Brains, take notes, okay? Number one, that endometriosis, because there's no clear cut, as I know, clear cut diagnosis to
Yeah.
unless they go in and then they see what's going on. And I
Yeah.
have friends where their ovaries and uterus and all that has started to web together, massive amount of pain. Black women at an all-time rate have fibroid tumors.
Yep.
So they're looking into that as well. You go in for fibroids, you find that you have something else. There's a lot of problems with infertility. Women can't get pregnant. Here in the United States, they just had it on the news last night, how infant mortality and mothers dying during childbirth is at an all-time high. I don't understand that in 2023. Then you talked about something else. You talked about alternatives. Reflexology,
Yeah.
brains, your hands and your feet control every part of your body. There's a nerve, an organ that is connected to each one of them. I remember the first time that I had reflexology, I was at an event, and then the facilitator said, you know what, come by my studio. I went by his studio, I'm sitting next to this woman. The whole time, it's the great Louise Hay.
Amazing.
We're getting our feet worked
Wow.
on at the same time. I mean,
How
it really
cool.
changed my life. Yeah. So I do that. My husband is a sucker for a foot rub. You can get anything from him. But then you say Reiki. I want you to understand that Reiki is also energy movement in a
Yeah.
different type of way. It's the best massage you can get with your clothes on.
I
But
see it, I describe it to people as it's a massage for the soul.
it is. It is. But you know what? A little bit, Suzanne, that I want to ask you about is you've got to be careful with that because you're opening up your soul literally. And there's energy thieves in the world. Everybody doesn't have the best intention. How do you block yourself from being convoluted with your client, the energy, and the work that you need to do?
So do a lot of self-healing, using crystals,
Mhm.
and when you're preparing for a Reiki treatment before a client comes, you do a lot of affirmations. I've got my own kind of prayer that I do at the beginning, sort of clearing that energy, asking for um, all of the spirits and guides around me to come and protect me, and do just a lot of that self healing and preparation mentally and physically, just to cleanse the body and cleanse the area as well.
Right. I
So that
burned some Palo Santo and some sage,
yeah, hmm
because you want that area as clear as possible
possible. Yeah,
for the best energy to come through and to be transmitted.
yeah,
Also, mindset. The breath is the very first gift that our creator gave us.
yeah,
It is the last thing that you will leave on this earth is your last breath.
yeah.
So everything in between should be nurtured, should be gifted, should be honored, should be worshiped. And that is basically what yoga is. Yoga is preparing the body for meditation, which is a
Absolutely.
quieting
Yeah.
of the monkey mind. Do I have this
Mhm.
right?
You do, yeah, 100%. And
Yeah.
I wish everyone knew this because every time I say the word yoga, everyone thinks, well, they always say I'm not bendy enough. It's not about being bendy, it's
It,
about
and I'll tell
connecting
you,
with your breath.
once you get into the motion, don't break a sweat, honey. Because once you get into the motion, and your body will do anything you want it
You
to.
want.
And I
Yeah,
love it when my yoga teacher says to me, she says, now breathe into that area, relax that area. You can literally focus your mind to release the tension in your back and your shoulders.
yeah,
But it's addicting. It's like chiropractic. Once you fall off, because I fell off, I got to go out there and do it today. Once you fall off, the body kind of conforms back to the way that it was. But after 3 or 4 days, I'm telling you, you can get that elasticity back.
back. Yeah,
So now,
definitely.
how does all of this support women with hormone and gynecological problems?
So a lot of what I teach through like the breathing and the relaxation techniques is all obviously connected with the hormones. So any gynecological sort of problem that anyone is diagnosed with is hormone related.
Mm,
And so by kind of looking at how to calm the breath down, how to nurture the body. So, looking inwards rather than concentrating on the outwards, we can really start to understand what our body needs. So, in particular, for me, every month I would be in a lot of pain. And there's just one simple thing that you can do, and that's just come and lie down on your back on a yoga mat and just pop your hands on your belly and just breathe through. And it's amazing how
mm.
effective that can be. for the pain, to just
Wow.
have that connection with the ground and just concentrate and focus on your breath. I'm not going to say it happens overnight. You've got to keep going. You've got to keep doing
Right,
it. But
right, right.
it's a tool to go to if you're in a lot of pain.
But sometimes too, women go through um, irritable bowel syndrome. Either they're
Yeah,
constipated or they have runny bowels. I know some women that don't even eliminate every day, but they
yeah,
do during their period. So it is a cleansing of the body
absolutely.
in
Yeah.
so many different ways. And the mind can help control that. Now,
Mhm.
there are going to be individuals that are going to need medication. You need the over the
Yeah,
counter, or sometimes you need something even stronger. But
absolutely.
you can definitely try to, welcome it in
Yeah,
before
you can
you get
still
to that.
nurture it. And I think that the key for me is we are all the same, but we are all very different. And that's the issue that we have with hormonal health, because there's tiny little tweaks in one person that can work for one person and it won't work for somebody else. But it's getting to understand what those tweaks are and how to manage it for yourself.
Now, diet is also very important.
Absolutely, yeah.
What you put in, especially when mothers, teach your daughters about the rhythm method, not for birth control, but to understand how to count their cycle.
Yeah,
I know some young ladies and their mother, oh no, we're not talking about birth control. No, you can tell if your cycle is irregular, if it's too heavy, if it's too often, if you are pregnant,
yeah,
uh, all of these different things. But you have to be educated on how the machine works. Wouldn't you agree?
absolutely. 100%.
you know and it's never too young to learn these things about. I mean, you teach them about your nose and your eyes and your ears. You should teach them about the female parts of the body.
Yeah. Hmm.
Now, when doing some things with regards to yoga, give us some suggestions or some moves or something. You gave us one to place the hands on the belly,
On
but
the
is there
belly,
anything,
yeah.
because there's a lot of back pain too that happens?
Yeah, I know, and that can be quite excruciating. One of my favorites I absolutely love is extended child's pose. So
Mm.
that's where you've got your knees open with your big toes together, and then rather than having rather than it being a active pose, so normally we would have the hands and the elbows off the mat. If you actually just let the elbows relax, and then what I would tell my yogis is to breathe through the front body and then bring that breath all the way up over to the top of the head and then exhale down the back body. And that encourages us to, on the inhale, open up the rib cage. And then on the exhale, open up the back ribs, because we tend to forget about those back ribs that need to expand. And that can be so relaxing. It kind of feels a bit like you're having a back massage, because if you're
Mm.
controlling your breath in and out, you can feel those ribs just opening up so gently, and it's lovely.
So you found a lot of relief from
Yeah,
all of this?
yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I've been in hospital quite a few times with my endometriosis, and you would probably more than often find me lying on the bed like that than lying on my back. The
Wow.
doctors would come to the bed to come and see me, and I'd be lying in child's pose.
Wow. Now, a lot of women unfortunately, have to have surgery,
Yes.
and they remove a lot of their body parts.
Yep.
Once that happens, the whole body goes through a metamorphosis of change, because you start going through the change of life. You
Yep.
start going through the menopause. Your ovaries are not producing anymore. You're
Yep.
not regulated with your period anymore. So now, how do we adjust the hormones? Because a lot of times that's done with medication.
And yeah, and I mean, I will hold my hands up for me. I mean, I am on different medication,
Mhm.
and that's because I need it. For me, I'm on an estrogen gel, a progesterone tablet, I'm on a testosterone gel, and I'm on an estrogen pessary twice a week.
Let me ask the question because I'm not familiar with those, but the gel is a topical that
Yes,
you put,
yeah, that
and
you
then they
rub
have
on.
some that are patches that
I
go.
tried the patches, didn't work for me. The patches, you're only supposed to put them on every 3 days. And so what was happening for me on day one, I would have a massive high and feel amazing. And then by day three, I would have a massive dip and
Oh,
feel like the
wow.
worst I'd ever felt.
Mm.
So that just didn't work. And I mean, it's taken 2 years to find the right balance. And I tend to not look at it as medication. I tend, because it's called hormone replacement therapy,
Right.
I tend to think of it as it's hormones. And a doctor once described to me that if you were diabetic, you need insulin to survive. And really, that's the way we should look at HRT, that some women really do need it for their physical and their mental health.
Well, yeah, I mean, because it will take you through mood swings.
Oh,
The
yeah.
temperature conversation, there'll be vaginal drying,
Yeah.
there will be a low sex drive,
hmm
or sometimes it'll be ramped up,
And then the hot sweats were
Woo,
just
honey.
horrendous.
Those the you got red, honey. I would be somewhere and I'd be looking real cute, have my makeup done, and the hot flash doesn't just start. It's got to go through the entire body,
Body. Yeah.
head to toe before it's over. And you'll be laying next to your loved one in the bed and you'll kick the covers off or you'll kick them. You don't want anything to touch your skin. You know, I don't
It's
know.
like ants. I felt like it was like ants underneath my skin, and then I
Awful.
would throw the covers off, but then be cold was like a weird, horrible feeling.
Well, and
So
another thing that I did to reduce mine was I kept a food journal.
yeah.
What I would do is when I was going through a spell,
hmm
I would see what I've eaten. I'd write it down.
hmm
And then I see how long it would be before my body would react. Caffeine,
Yeah, good tip.
soda,
Alcohol,
alcohol,
and then the all
sugar.
the junk food, sugar. Yeah. I mean, I've recently been testing a high protein diet, and I've found that really, really effective for me.
Mm,
It's really worked for me. I've actually lost about 8 pounds as well,
wow.
and I've struggled to lose any weight in the last 2 years.
Mhm. The
Um,
carbohydrates, the bread, and all that, that turns directly into sugar.
yeah, yeah, hmm
And then,
So
like I said, you're putting all this in your body and you're not moving it. You've
that's
got
the
to
key.
move that. That
Yeah,
glucose is turning into sugar, it's turning
yeah,
into fat. You don't have any flexibility, you don't have any mobility.
no.
Something happened to me the other day. I was walking up the street. I was walking up this massive hill, and I was at the bottom of the hill and I looked at it and I was like, damn, I don't want to climb this hill. But it was a mindset change. I said, April, do you know how many people can't even get out of the bed? Do you know how
Very
many
true.
people wish they could walk? Do you know how many people wish they had a beautiful neighborhood to walk in? Girl, you better get up that hill. And when I got to the top of the hill, I literally patted myself on the
You
back and I
felt
said, good
amazing.
job. I felt amazing. It's an accomplishment. So don't look at it as a punishment, look at it as a reward.
And I always say as well, you know, I do exercise every day, but think of housework as exercise. If
Mhm.
you're cleaning the bathroom or cleaning the windows or doing the gardening or the yard, think of that as that's your exercise for the day. It doesn't need to be something as static as going to a yoga class or going to the gym. I think that's the mindset that we really need to change.
And appreciation. And also, people have compassion for one another. People say, "Oh, you're not really that sick. Go ahead and get up and this." And sometimes you don't want to do that. That will cause you to get your eyes scratched out.
100%.
So you want to be compassionate to your partner, that know that this is a real physical condition. My brother used to tease me. Oh, you're having a hot flash? Oh, ha, 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 this, that, and the other. And it just really made me resent him because he didn't realize this is a horrible experience. And men go through the menopause. They do. They
Yep.
have a reduction in their testosterone
Yep.
production, or if they have prostate issues, they go through a mental challenge as well.
Yep.
So it's not just about a woman's thing. So let's ask you some fun questions, Suzanne.
Sure.
If you were an appliance in the kitchen, what appliance would you be and why?
Oh, if I was an appliance in the kitchen, I think I would be a juicer.
Oh boy. Okay. I like to squeeze it. I get it. I always say I like to be the refrigerator because I just want to sit and chill.
Love it.
What is a couple of your guilty pleasures? What are just some whimsical things that you love to do?
Oh, well, I do love to binge Netflix.
Oh, me too.
Gotta be done. So, like if someone said, "Oh, do you fancy watching this 4-hour film?" And you go, "No," but then you'll watch like 6 episodes of like 1 hour each of a series. I love binge watching series.
Me too.
And another guilty pleasure. I guess having a coffee in bed.
That's good. That's really good.
Mhm.
If you were a flower in the garden, what flower would you be?
Sunflower.
Why?
I've always just adored sunflowers. I just think they're so delicate, but they've got this they're just so tall and they've got this tiny little stem with this massive head. And funnily enough, my friend's just been for lunch today and bought me a big bunch of them.
Oh, wow. And they give the best sunflower seeds.
They do.
They do. They definitely
which is
pollinate
which
and
are
they
good for
spread.
you.
Exactly. What would you tell a 25-year-old Suzanne?
To listen to your gut. Yep.
Listen to that
Listen,
wisdom, that inner wisdom.
yeah, that inner wisdom. Yeah, listen to what your gut is telling you and go with it. It's more intelligent than your brain.
Absolutely. What would you speak to a woman that is struggling right now that just knows that there's something wrong, but she's afraid? Where would you tell her to start to look or to find comfort or to get information?
So, well, obviously there's my website, wellness2room.com. But what I would say is it's not a quick fix, and you have to look at the bigger picture. So, looking at home life, nutrition, movement, any stress, whatever factors are going on in your life, kind of look at all of it and think, what could I change to make me feel better in my life? What am I struggling with? Where can I look at certain areas to change? So that it could be nutrition is one of the key areas I would say to start.
Mhm. And again, like I say, charting and documenting, writing down, keep a pencil and paper handy. Write
Yeah.
down every morsel that goes in your mouth. Brains, I'm going
Yep.
to self disclose. One day I did that when I first started this. I had put 45 things in my mouth in one day. 45. I looked at that, and I'm talking about a piece of gum. I'm talking
Yeah.
about a chip. Oh, then it was two chips. Then it's now chips and dip. So you got to count the chip and the dip. 45 things. And I said, well, no wonder, you know,
Hmm.
no wonder I'm feeling the way that I did. The
Yeah.
next time it was 28. That's still way too many.
Hmm.
But then I was able to look at what those things were.
Were.
Were they
And I think
valuable?
one of the things as well is to to try and avoid that snacking, because that's just it's it's not healthy for your body, but it's really not healthy for your mind either.
No, it's not.
Hmm.
Unless you're binging. How can you not have some popcorn? But again, it's your choices.
Yes,
You can
gotta
have
make good choices.
you can have some blueberries or nuts or whatever. You don't necessarily have to have the chip and the guac and the
And
margarita
chocolate and
and
yeah,
chocolate and all those type of things. Those
mhm.
are again guilty pleasures. Those are things that you can really to really enjoy. As we close, please tell my brains how to get in contact with you, Suzanne, and really, some words of encouragement to let us know that this is a change of life and it's not a death trap. It's not a death sentence.
No, no. Yeah, sure. So you can get in touch with me. My website's wellness2womb.com, or you can find me on Facebook, Suzanne J Lawson. And yeah, I would just say one of the biggest things that I've learned in the last 25 years is learn to love your body. Learn to love what it does for you every day because it's an amazing vessel and it needs taken care of. You know, you would take your car for an MOT, you would take it for its brakes fixed, you would do this, you would do that. Do that for your body. Really take care of it and give it that nutrition and give it what it needs.
Brains, your health is your wealth,
Absolutely.
and everything else is in vain. I mean, if you can't get up that hill, if you can't eliminate, if you can't bend over and pick up a piece of paper, there might be some things that you want to consider. Thank you so much for being here on the edge with me. I appreciate you so much. And, women's health is a struggle. Again, do what your doctor suggests you do, but also you can incorporate some of these things because they're very holistic, they're minimally evasive. All you have to do is put the effort behind it. Thank you so much, Suzanne.
Absolutely.
I appreciate and
Thank
value
you,
you.
April. Namaste.
All right. Namaste. Bye, brains.